Hello, everyone. Hello, how are you? I'm Scotty T. This is your Comedy Minute, and this young lady is a bundle of energy. I'm telling you, she is absolutely drives me crazy, but I love her. She's a comedian, she's an actor, she's a model, she's you name it. Ina Romeo is here. Ina, thank you so much for giving me some of your time.
Thank you very much for having me.
Now you're going to be all demure. I'm telling you, you're a bundle of energy, and you're going to sit there all quiet. You really are. Let's go right to work. You're from Detroit, is that right?
Yes, sir. I am from Detroit and
Born and raised in that area.
born and raised in Detroit
Okay.
with both of my parents.
Right.
I am the youngest of seven siblings.
Okay.
Yeah, we all went to Catholic school.
Okay.
I went to a Catholic school that was across the street from a public school.
Okay.
But more importantly, because this was back in the 60s, my Catholic school was the only private school in the neighborhood.
Right.
So we had a lot of Jewish kids in our school.
Okay.
One of my best friends was Elise Cantor.
Okay.
So I went to her house after school, like all kids do. You're hungry, whatever. I'm in the refrigerator, I'm foraging around, and I go, "Oh my God, what is this stuff? It's really nasty." She goes, "Ina, that's it. You're not an honorary Jew until you can pronounce gefilte fish."
Gefilte fish. Oh my God.
I called it gelfite fish. I go, "I don't
Delphi.
want to eat this nasty gelfite fish, right?"
Delphi fish.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to keep going because you did your first commercial, and I'm guessing you were still in Detroit at that point when you were 10 years old. Is that right?
That's exactly right.
Okay.
The neighborhood that I grew up in was a beautiful neighborhood.
Okay.
And the man across the street was a photographer.
All right.
So he chose me to be in the commercial,
Okay.
which I probably had done 4 or 5 different ad campaigns
Okay.
because of this man. So
Okay.
my mother and I did an ad campaign that wound up being my first commercial. And it's all due to the photographer who lived across the street from us.
And you were 10 years old.
I was 9, yeah, and
Not
then
nine or
I
10.
turned 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you continued acting, and I'm just going to run through Carolina in the City, um, Wayans Brothers. You've been in some movies. Quincy M.E. I told you Jack Klugman, I like that. Hill Street Blues, Escape from L.A. movie, and what else do I have written down here? I wish I could read it. Outbreak. Um, how did all that, from that, did it all start in Detroit there and just kept snowballing?
Actually, it all started in Detroit because not only did I work as an actor in commercials, but I did The King and I when
Okay.
I was 10 years old.
All right.
And I got my first speaking role, and that's when I got the bug, right, for
Okay.
acting.
All right.
But because I am the product of
Right.
my parents listened to a lot of music. My dad drank a lot. He was an alcoholic, but he listened to a lot of old records. Mom's Mabley, Red Fox,
Yeah.
Richard Pryor. So I knew the Richard Pryor album, stem to
Mhm.
stern. So my class, we went on a little trip to Henry Ford Museum. So on the lunch break, we decided to have our lunch in the bus because we had a little brown paper bag full of sandwiches and
Yeah,
goodies.
I went through
So
that. I did that.
yeah, we finished our little lunch, and I decided to do a stand up performance of
Okay.
Richard Pryor's album, pretty much from stem to stern. I was killing on the bus. Next thing I know, because I'm looking at my audience, right? Everybody is just kind of still, and their eyes are big, and they're looking behind me. I turn around. Sister Mary Frances was behind me.
And you would do Richard,
Everybody
and you
was
would do
quiet.
Richard Pryor material.
I was doing Richard Pryor material. She told everybody to get off the bus. She pulled me by the collar. She goes, "You're in trouble." I got suspended from school for about, I don't know, 2 or 3 days. But
Okay.
it scared me from doing comedy after that,
So you
right?
continued to act. You just kept acting. And then if I'm right, you started doing comedy again in your 40s. Is that right?
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
And with as much that was going on in Detroit with blues clubs and all that, I was never one to go to the blues clubs because they were in that bad neighborhood, but
Yeah.
that's where the comedy was happening.
Okay.
And but when I came out here, and I would always hear, I was, I would have conversations with people, and people would say to me, "Oh, you seem so different from most Detroiters." And I'm like, "Well, what's your opinion of how Detroiters are?" And they give me some skewed opinion about Detroit. And I'm like, "Well, I was raised Catholic." And people were taken aback that I told them I was raised Catholic.
Right.
And they were like, "Yeah, well, I didn't know black people were Catholic." I was done. Like
Right.
it blew my mind that people didn't think that we were somehow brainwashed by the idea of the patriarchal society that is Catholicism. In any event,
Black Catholic or black Jew
black Catholic,
or
right?
black Jew. I remember Sammy Davis Jr. Do you remember that?
Absolutely, because there were so many Jews in my Catholic school that when we read about Catholicism, we realized that it derived from Judaism.
Right.
So
Right.
I've always felt an affinity for people to choose a religion, right? Because the other time I got in trouble in school was my seventh grade teacher teaching us about the Trinity. And she goes, "Well, it isn't so much to question as to believe." I'm like, "Yeah, well, I don't believe that." I'm like, "How is it?" Right?
That's
I'm
great.
like,
That's
"How
great.
is it? There's God the Father, God the Son, and the Holy Spirit all in one, and I've never seen one."
Right.
Oh my God. Oh my God. You got to stay after class. They brought my mother up to the school and they were like,
Right.
"Yeah, she keeps questioning everything." I'm like, "Yeah, hell yeah, I'm questioning everything. I've never seen God once, but it's supposed to be at three, three
Threesomes.
at
Yeah.
one."
So anyway, let's go because I know about the comedy, and you started off and you were killing it. You were killing it, right? You were just doing great, and then something happened.
I was at the Comedy Act Theater in my early 40s. I had gone to the Comedy Act Theater at the behest of someone who was managing Maestro Clark. And that night at the Comedy Act Theater, they put a guy up in front of Maestro Clark who killed it. There was
Right.
a whole room of the industry seated behind us: CAA, ICM, William
Right.
Morris, all the big agents. And the guy who killed it on the stage, his name was Chris Tucker. It was the night that they found Chris Tucker
I,
because the booker threw him up before Maestro Clark.
I
I had
just had
never,
his brother on my show.
Chris Tucker's brother?
Yep.
His brother does comedy?
Yep. Go ahead, keep
What's
going because I got some stuff written down. Keep going.
Well, and what's interesting about it is that I had never been in a comedy club before that.
Right.
So when I looked around and saw everybody laughing at Chris Tucker, I was laughing. My two friends, we were laughing at Chris Tucker. I was like, "Man, I like this." And then it dawned on me. I'm like, everybody's always so surprised that I'm Catholic. Maybe I could talk about being Catholic on this stage. So that's where my idea to do stand up comedy came from. Because I saw in that club that one could say whatever was on one's mind.
Right.
And of course, Chris Tucker did that brilliant bit about McDonald's,
Yeah.
right? Going to the McDonald's to pick up your food
And then
from
your
the
first joke.
drive-through.
Your first joke. Tell him your first
Well,
joke.
that's what Chris Tucker did, his version of McDonald's. I did my first joke driving to the venue after that by seeing a guy standing in front of McDonald's with a sign. And that's when I got up on stage and said, "Hey, I saw a homeless
The
guy."
sign said, "We'll work for food."
And I'm like, "Yeah, go to
Dude, go
McDonald's,"
to McDonald's. Right.
right?
Well, I want to move along because something happened this week that ties into what you were telling me. You were killing it. You were just killing it. You were doing great, and you bought a book.
I bought a book called, well, I don't even remember what it was called, but it was by Judy Carter.
Judy Carter bought a book, right?
Yeah, Judy Carter wrote a book
Wrote a book, and
telling
you
how,
bought it, and things didn't go so good.
well, because I was killing on my own. After my first experience at the Comedy Act Theater, doing my very first joke about McDonald's, I went back, I don't know, 5 or 6 times. And each time I went back with new material, I was having killer shows, right?
Right.
So I thought, man, if I'm doing this well without knowing how to do comedy, surely if I knew how to do comedy, I'd do even better. So I heard words in town about Judy
Judy
Carter's
Carter's
book,
book, right?
got the book. The book said you've got to write jokes. You can't just do it off the cuff. So I've got a high school education. You know, I did a little college. So I'm like, yeah, I know how to write. Man, I was writing my ass off, right?
Right.
So I take these written jokes. And because I've been doing so well at the Comedy Act Theater, they called up and said, hey, we need you to do a Friday night show. Dana Point, da 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 da. They're all going to be on the lineup. Cheryl Underwood, whatever, they're going to be on the lineup. And I'm like, well, I can't do that one, but I can do the other one. So I go to the show, packed to the gills. It was damn near standing room only. They put me on, I don't know, I was comic number 3, comic number 4. I go up, I start doing my written material, and you could hear a pin drop in that place. And I'm like, ain't nobody laughing, right? But I kept going. And down at the front, because you know the crowd was right here at the
Yeah.
edge of the proscenium, the stage. And I remember the brothers Johnson were there.
Oh
Two
yeah,
real
Strawberry
good
Letter
producers.
23. I know that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was them because I knew who they were. And they were looking up at me with just like sheer horror on their faces. And the whole crowd was like, you know, then the booker comes up, Dwayne, I don't know who it was, and he just grabs the microphone from me, and I'm going, what's going on? And he just shakes his head, and he takes the microphone from me, and oh my God, I left the stage. I was so humiliated.
Well, I got to tell you this, and because you went on that, and you can continue. I don't know if you saw it. Judy Carter put out a new book this week.
No.
Well, guess what happened?
What?
The day it launched, Amazon went down.
Ah, that's great.
I thought of you when I heard it. She's
Oh
always
my God.
smiling, bubbly.
Have you ever met Judy Carter?
Yeah, my book came out. Anyway, so you got home. I love that you do because you were so bad. You went home. Nobody liked you. You prayed to God. God didn't like you. You even talked to the cat or the
My
dog.
dog barked at me. Everybody. Like, it was just the worst feeling whatsoever. But I realized that even my basic thoughts could become jokes.
Right.
And because I was so good at writing topical material, every time I got on stage, I was doing new topical material and everything came out of my mouth. Everybody stole from me.
Yeah.
And I remember a friend of mine, she was like, yeah, people are doing your material everywhere. And I'm like, well, why would people need to do my material? Why aren't they doing their material? Because I didn't realize how much comics stole material, right?
Right. Right.
And that particular comic took my material and went on the Tonight Show with it.
Okay.
And, well, she's been banished from so many things, but she's had a thriving career. So to hell with her. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
hell with her.
She stole a lot of other
We don't need
people's
her. We don't need her.
jokes
Heck with
too.
her. What about comedians that inspired you? You mentioned uh, Richard Pryor. You were doing was it Richard Pryor you were doing on the bus?
Richard Pryor was doing on the bus. Red Fox inspired me. Godfrey, what was his name? Godfrey Cambridge
Yeah.
inspired me. Uh,
I think you
the
mentioned
old
Robin
school.
Harris. Robin Harris at one point, didn't you? Or
Well, no,
you
Robin
played. You played at a
Harris.
place. He played right.
I played at a place that was his home, but I
Right.
didn't know that. I had
Okay.
never ever met Robin Harris.
Okay.
Who I did meet were Dan and Clark, who still does comedy, Kim Whitley, who
Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah. Sure,
fabulous.
sure.
I met a lot of different people. More importantly, I realized I could say what I wanted to say in comedy because I think that when you are kind of different, and being Catholic made me seem different, right?
Right.
I was
Yeah.
like, man, this is crazy that people would think that I'm somehow unnatural because I'm Catholic. All my friends are Catholic, right?
Right.
Like I have my same friends from first grade. We're all Catholic,
Right.
right? Their husbands are Catholic. My ex-husband was Catholic.
Right.
So it just was surprising to me that people had this narrow view of who and what people are. So
Yeah.
it was that prism that I saw things through because I realized I'm just a person, but I don't think that I think like everybody else.
No,
Um,
no. And I was on your YouTube channel and I saw a thing, and I got a couple written down since we got together. The first one I wrote down was "How to Get Old, Shut the Fuck Up." And I watched some more, but what I love about it is you are unfiltered. When you say you, go ahead. I mean, expand on that because you will. Like I saw one where you're showing your bra and the size, and it doesn't matter what it is.
well, and I feel that I'm much more restrained than I want to be because, as you know,
Wait a second. Wait a second.
really, I've done since 21, I've done about 23 national commercials.
Yep.
So the minute you're in consideration for the job, whoever the powers that be, the advertisers, the client, they're already looking to your social media
Your social media. Okay.
because they don't want you to embarrass them,
Okay.
right? So you have to understand that most commercial actors act within a realm of anonymity. We are just the everyman face of the product because we're not to overshine the product. We're just the real body who happens to be an everyman person about this product, this soap, this car, this whatever. But a commercial is really an extension of the corporation. So the corporation wants to feel that you are an extension of them.
Right.
So if you've got too much quote unquote raunchy social
Yeah. Yeah.
media, they really don't want to deal with you.
Well, like you have a Pepsi commercial with Shaq. I
Yeah,
think I saw a what Jardiance commercial. I think it is, or a
yeah.
medical commercial, and um, I get it. I get it. In other words, it's a corporate thing, and you're right. They go through your social media, but and like I said, shut the fuck up. That one has an age restriction on it because there was too many fucks.
Yeah, I didn't even know until
Yeah.
you told me. But I feel that when I embrace my age,
Oh yeah.
I can say more than I would if I didn't embrace my age,
Oh no.
right?
And can I do one more? Do you mind if I do one more since we got
Please.
together? Jeffrey Epstein recruited girls at your old high school, which is Zane Maxwell. And do you remember how you described him?
You tell me.
Big head, bad breath, short, little dick motherfucker. Big head, bad breath, short, little dick motherfucker.
That's Jeffrey Epstein. Yep, that's Jeffrey Epstein. Because people don't realize, like, Michigan is like a glove, right? It looks just like a glove. So Detroit is way down here.
I've been
And
to
I went to
Detroit. I've
school.
been to Detroit.
Well, and my school was way up in Traverse City called Interlochen Arts Academy.
Right.
And it's hidden in the woods, right? It's a private arts academy that is year round. And then in the summer, people come from all over the world to do the National Music Camp. It was at the National Music Camp that Jeffrey Epstein went. But then he realized it was a plethora of young women up there on their own because it's hidden, right?
Right.
So he was up there recruiting. Didn't recruit me. I was not his type. But more importantly, because I don't think I ever would have been groomed because I had really good parents. I had lots of cousins, lots of uncles, lots of friends around me. I talked too fucking much for some guy to come up and say something stupid to me without me telling a brother or my dad or somebody who I know,
Yeah.
right? And I think that that's the thing about being a girl who was raised by both parents.
Yes.
I had the ability to conversate with my mother and my father. Nothing was off limits, and it's kept me straight to this day. Meaning, because I had a sounding board, right? I've made good choices for all the dudes I've dated because my
Yeah.
dad was there to scrutinize who I was dating,
Right.
right? So I didn't make too many bad mistakes. And my parents gave me enough of a background in morality, sending me to Catholic
Yeah.
school. My father was a lush, so I already knew not to be an alcoholic. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Well,
So
I
I
just
just
want to I
got
want to
rid of
clear
it.
one thing up because I could see the look on your face. I wasn't as eloquent as I would have liked to been when I said that you will do and say when I said you showed a bra, it was not your bra you had on, it was a bra you purchased. And you
Right.
spent $32 and but I mean, you were unfiltered that like you said, you talk too fucking much. That's me. I talk and I hate when I talk when I'm on these things. It's all about you.
But you're fine. You're the host. I love having a
No,
dialogue
I'm just
conversation.
telling you that I didn't want to come off the wrong way because I love watching them. Your take on life at your age and all you've done. Do you enjoy doing them? Like, in other words, I saw you have TikTok, and I didn't know
Well,
you had TikTok, and you were upset when they were gonna cut it off.
I got rid of the TikTok
Did you?
because I got rid of the TikToks when there was the big fight over who was going to own it.
Yeah.
And I felt like this current administration would have something to do with it.
Okay.
So I just thought, it's bad enough. Like, let me tell you another thing that happened. One of the commercials I've done in the past 4 or 5 years was for Meta, which is Facebook.
Okay.
So I had stopped posting at all on any of the socials because they told us not to. We had to sign an NDA.
Yeah.
And so when you work for these big corporations, when you work for Meta, they know what you do, when you do it, and who you do it with,
Yeah.
right? So they look at your private messages, whatever, whatever. So when I got released from that contract, I just decided I'm going back. I'm going, but I am still very restrained, I feel, in what I choose to talk about, right? And the thing about stand up comedy is even though you can say whatever it is you want to say, you still have the choice. And because I am so, because I do know a lot,
Yeah, you're
I'm
very
very
good.
discerning about what I say on stage, right? Like,
Sure.
I don't feel it's a place that I can be as unfiltered as I want to be.
Right.
Because in the bigger picture, you still want a deal. You still want to be a part of. And I think that because Black women, me having been raised by both of my parents, because we're so assertive, I think a lot of people take our being assertive and strong as somehow less than feminine, and that part is sad because we come off as tell it to your face kind of so in your face, and I think that a lot of times we lose a lot of opportunity.
See, I love that about you. I love in your face. I love when you get in my face. I love when you holler at me. I mean it. No, I mean it. And I just want to touch on what you're talking about. I've had people that they get up for a role and they have to take down their social media. They go over all their social media as quick as they can to take everything down so that they don't see it.
And I agree with that because you don't want to lose a job over something that was
A post,
completely
yeah.
within your control, right?
Yeah.
And because material is sacrosanct. Every joke I say, I've written the joke. Not Judy Carter style, because I had to let that shit go,
Fuck her
right?
book. Fuck her book. Fuck Judy Carter and her book.
Fuck
Fuck
Judy
Judy
Carter,
Carter. And
right?
everybody looks like Judy Carter. And all the
But I had
Carters.
to learn how to
Jimmy
write
Carter,
for
every
me,
Carter. Fucking any
right?
Carter. I don't give a
Yeah,
shit.
I don't want
I'm
anything
stealing
to
George
do.
Wallace's stuff. I'm stealing
I
George
love,
Wallace. All the Carters.
I love so much about comedy that
Me
I'm
too.
still in control of what I
Yeah,
say.
right.
And I never put my good bits online
That's smart. That's smart.
because, and I'll never be a social media comic. I'll never
I
be that.
don't ever say never because I think I just met you a week or so ago, and I'm telling you, I think the world is I don't think they're ready for you because you're absolutely. I want to talk about your book that you wrote. Seniors act your age, get paid doing commercials.
Oh, you've really researched me. That's funny. That's funny.
No, I
That's
mean
good.
because you you don't know this. I mean, I've done 300 or more of these. I have a friend Bruce Lipsky that does commercials. Another friend of mine, Ziggy Susser, he does some commercials. That there's an opportunity there for older folks to make some money doing commercials.
You're exactly right. And let me tell you, because I've had my commercial agents for 30 plus years, right? Think about that. I'm a Hollywood babe. I've had my commercial agents for 30 plus years, right? They said to me, they said, Anina, you do so well as an actor. You get so many callbacks.
Yeah,
You ought to teach a class.
yeah,
So I don't want to teach a class, but they kept saying I had something there. So I decided to write a book,
yeah.
right? So when I wrote the book, I thought about it and thought about it and thought about it, and it just wasn't happening. You know when it happened? When I entitled the book. And I remember talking to my cousin, and I said, I'm just going to be honest in the title. I don't care if it's a long title. I'm just going to give it
Yeah,
all in the title.
yeah,
And I said, if you're a senior, and that's how the title came,
yeah,
seniors, act your age and get paid
yeah.
doing commercials. That's it. Do you know what? That little book sells like hotcakes.
Did, uh, just to go back because I forgot. When you did the commercial with Shaq, did you get to meet him?
Oh God, yes. Shaq is
Oh, did you? Okay,
wonderful.
that's cool.
Oh
I
my
was
God, he's
curious about that.
absolutely. Yeah, like the kid from Stranger Things is in the commercial as well. He is
Okay.
the one that's serving the burger to Shaq. And so I was waiting on set, and let me tell you something. I look like an extra in the commercial. I'd audition and get a call back to get the commercial. And
Yeah.
as soon as he comes around the corner and he looks at me, he goes, "Hey, good looking." Oh my God. He is the nicest man.
Okay.
He's tall, but guess what? He's handsome. His skin is so smooth.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny about millionaires? When you look at their skin and you realize their skin is like as smooth as butter and their hands, oh my God, that's where their money goes.
Yeah.
Shaq's nothing but money. He just is so handsome, so charming. I love him. So we were on the set, we were doing the Pepsi commercial. So, there's people all around. There's gaffers, sound, lighting, this and that. There's directors, assistant directors, there's camera people. So I look over and I see the DP. And I go, "Hey, Dave." Dave goes, "Hey, Ina." Then I look and I see the director. Dave goes, "Ina." I go, "Dave." Then the other guy goes, "Ina." I go, "Dave." There's 3 days. We're all standing around kikiing because we did a commercial together in Shaq.
Yeah.
And Shaq goes, "Hey." And we go, "Oh, sorry. My bad, Shaq." My
That's funny.
bad.
That's funny.
Right?
That's
Because
great.
it's a small town. It
Yeah.
really is a small town.
Sure,
If
sure.
you work with this one here, you're going to work with the same one over there.
Do
You know what I
you
mean?
do you have a favorite memory all this time? And it can be commercial, comedy, whatever. Do you have a favorite memory?
Let me tell you one of my favorite memories.
Okay.
I'm the youngest out of seven, and I'm a Detroit girl. So
Okay.
we grew up playing outside. Had to
Right.
get in before the street lights. When the street lights came on, we had to go in. So it was the whole neighborhood. I grew up in a beautiful house, which is an historical home now. So all the kids were outside playing, jumping. We were doing jacks. We were just playing.
Right.
Well, all of now I must have been, to be honest with you, I'm not sure if I was 9, 10, or 11.
Right.
I wasn't quite a big girl yet, right? So I look down the street and everybody goes, look. So we see this person walking towards us with a full Indian headdress on. So the person's walking towards us, and as she walks to me, she was my height, and I go, oh, look, you're a midget. This is the middle of the 60s. That girl punched me so hard. Connie Alexander, if you're watching, you little person, you, love you, still scared of you. That girl beat me so bad, I swear to God. By the time they dragged my ass in the house, even my mother was laughing, right? I had feathers all over me. Like, my brothers and sisters were cracking up. Peter got beaten up by a midget. And it's horrible because that's what we called them then. Of course, she's her own autonomous person. She's a little person. Yeah. Her mother is a little person. She has a brother who's a little person. Okay. But her other siblings are normal height. I learned from that ass kicking then in Detroit. It was 66 or 67. You know when they say, don't start no mess, won't be no mess? Connie Alexander taught me that, okay?
Okay. So now that's a favorite memory?
That's one of my favorite memories because I grew up from that.
Okay.
I was a kid.
You did a bit about a show that somebody was razzing you.
Oh, my God. You know, let me tell you something. I performed for the troops 3 iterations.
Right.
And this particular iteration was an all-girl tour. April Macy, Rachel Feinstein, having a great show. I had good shows, bad shows. Right. This particular show, I don't know if there were 2,000 or 3,000 people in the house, right? So there were tons and tons of people. The girls were having a good show. I went up, I was having a good show. And what I learned about that room that night is that because it was such a big room, the laughter starts down here and it ripples up. Right. So you got to get your timing because you got to make sure everybody hears the joke. You have to wait for the laughter. So all of a sudden, I'm having a good show. I see this lady, and at first I wasn't sure if she was a lady because she looked like a man. She was in the army fatigue. She was walking all tough. So she looked really butch, but you could tell she was a girl. But she looked like a man. Anyway, she comes up. She sits up front in the table. So her friends were laughing at me. Everybody was laughing, but it made her mad, right? So she starts talking real loud to her friends. First, I tried to ignore it. But then I said, excuse me, I'm doing the show. Something nice, something cute. Right. She turned around. She goes, you da-da-da-da-da-da. She called me every name in the book. She looked just like a guy, but you knew she was a girl, right? So the whole place was silent. So I look down at her and I take the microphone. I said, excuse me, but if you're going to beat me up, it wouldn't be a fair fight. Man to woman. Oh. The crowd went crazy.
They
went crazy.
One of your favorite memories.
She was so mad. And I said, good night, everybody.
That's good. That's good. That's great.
And because we were all these pretty girls on this tour, we were doing autograph signing afterwards. So that girl and her crew come walking up like a real badass, right? And I'm just shaking in my stilettos. And she comes up to me and she goes, yeah, you was a funny motherfucking bitch. Yeah. She hugged me.
Well, we're going to run out of time, and you don't have to do it. If you want to do it, I'm going to let you do it.
You know what? I got a joke for a minute.
All right. Hold on. Let me do a formal introduction. Ina Romeo, your comedy minute. Go ahead.
Well, I I was married for 21 years,
Okay.
right? And I think having been married in 1981, I learned something
Okay.
because I married a man who happened to be a person. But it wasn't until I got divorced that I realized I'm the only black woman I know who married a white man with worse credit than her.